selected for this World Cup, not even one Real Madrid player.
Correct.
Not even one. That's the biggest club in the world. That says how strong this nation is with players.
Yeah, certainly when he named the squad, and then I think during the course of the World Cup, Marc Cucurella is on his way. Yeah, but you're right.
That's right.
That's what I mean, Rebecca. Do your research.
Quite literally did.
Okay, no, I wanted to add something. Do I have time to add something?
Quick.
No, do you have a philosophy in place in the building and you go and get a coach that's going to fit that? Or you're going to go and get a coach that switches every time what he wants to bring to you? That's what you need to figure it out. Build something and then go and get someone that's going to fit what you have here. That's what they do.
That's interesting. Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, it does. It does look very even. Like, as I said, very balanced. You know, while much of the world and the World Cup was focused on stars and big teams, and rightfully so, and they certainly brought it. This team, to the extent that Spain can stay under the radar, was relatively under the radar in what they were doing. Getting the wins, not necessarily showing up when it came to the stat sheet in stars, while you had your Mbappes running around and doing what they were doing. This team, their biggest star, Lamine Yamal, he's a world champion. Right? Did he star throughout the tournament? In his own unique way, but certainly not compared to the other stars in this tournament. But we heard Stu, and everybody has said that is part of what this team was built on, is depth and talent and spreading the wealth, regardless of how big a star you are.
It's also built, as you mentioned, Thierry, on identity and on philosophy. It's a system there in Spain. For maybe plenty of people watching who don't yet understand or know too much about that, how can other countries get a system like Spain's?
Go to work. Think about how you want to go about it. At every level, play the same way. This is why they're dominating world football on every level, and it can be men and women. It doesn't really matter. They go about it the same way. But I wanted to add something very important, because before the break we saw Ferran Torres, and before the game we talk about Leo Messi. Don't ever give up. You know why? The World Cup for Spain started on a miss of Ferran Torres in a 6-yard box against Capo Verde. Everyone killed him. Spain cannot score. Spain don't have this. Spain don't have that. I said, be careful. Stay quiet and calm, because they don't concede goal and they're good on the ball. They will go about it a different way. Now, who scores?
Ferran Torres.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Don't ever give up. They know what they're doing for a very long time.
Lamine Yamal, we know, we've talked about him with you all competition long. We know you think he's the best player in the world. He hasn't maybe shown that. Maybe is that fair during this World Cup, Zlatan? But 19 years of age, he's a world champion, right?
As Alexis said, he came in the tournament, he wasn't 100%. He didn't have his best tournament, and still Spain dominated every game. That says how good they are as a team, even if Yamal didn't perform. And they won the World Cup without this guy performing like he normally does. So that says how good Spain is. Because when they start to play and when they start to do those passes, they take your spirit away. They take your hope away. And then I know as a player, when I used to play, if I don't touch the ball, if I have opposite opponent that always keep the ball, I get crazy. I lose patience. And you just want to run after them and you start kicking. That is what they did with every team in this tournament. And in the end, they're the best nation in the world.
They did it against some very good competition. I mean, that game against France was almost their coming out party for people that maybe hadn't been paying attention to what the Spain was doing. Again, it's difficult given how good they are to ignore it. It was almost like...
And we'd love to have seen him really shine today, but there's no doubt about it. He's going to have so many more magical moments in his career. But the respect he's got for the great man and the career path that he's trying to follow, I think that's a really classy moment. I love seeing it.
Luis de la Fuente, we just touched on him briefly a few moments ago, but actually Scolari as well. These are managers who have come through managing age groups, international managers, Scaloni, sorry, international managers as opposed to big name club managers who've been kind of flown in to do a job. For example, Thomas Tuchel, Ancelotti with Brazil, Nagelsmann with Germany, who've come with a specific purpose. Your job is to replicate what you've done in club football and win a major tournament. Does it tell us something about international football and the culture of management, that it is different?
It is very different, and it's difficult as well. International football is really difficult to play, to compete. And club football, you have your players every day. There's a development plan in place for the players. At international football, you're getting your players moments when you don't know what the fitness levels are, you don't know what the injury levels are. Everyone's being taught a different tactically at club level, so we've got to try and bring that together really quickly. And I've had it with Capello, which didn't work. I think Thomas Tuchel, I've said before, made mistakes, got it wrong in this tournament. So yeah, I think it is very different, and the FA went down a route and a plan of developing young coaches to get them to then eventually take over the national team and having a way of playing, but they've gone away with that with Tuchel, and unfortunately it hasn't worked for this World Cup.
Well, I think Tuchel talking about the DNA being the problem in the tournament. Now, De La Fuente, he knows the DNA of Spanish football, so when they come into that Spanish side, he gets them to play like Spanish players. Now, Thomas Tuchel didn't bring that up 2 years ago, and he's not brought it up before the tournament. But with us not doing what we wanted to do or what we needed to do at this tournament, he mentioned DNA. But that man there on your screen knows exactly what the DNA is, which allows them to play like that, play like they're with each other as club mates. And I think it was absolutely stands out and mild. It's something I never thought about before the tournament, but I think with him and Scaloni being in the final, it says a lot.
I just think they have a way of doing it where they give the players the confidence to come and to be able to thrive in an environment where, if you look at Argentina, yes, they're all playing for Messi. They've got some really good quality in there as well. But then you go to Spain. What I've admired the most about Spain is no fear. When you talk about players being brave, getting on the ball in tight areas, when you mention DNA, that is their DNA. And they do it to abundance. I feel so sorry for Scaloni because obviously he's won the World Cup, and when they don't play what Spain can bring you, they know they're going to dominate the ball. You know they're going to put pressure on you, and you're dealing with you've got Messi, so you know you've got a man less. So you build a team around that to work hard. And I had so many clips in terms of Argentina, the way they defended, the way they was really solid, the spaces in between was really good, and then they just didn't have the outball because Spain dominated the ball so much. But that doesn't mean it was bad. It just means it didn't work on
today.
Yeah, but that's where the Enzo Fernandez decision to stupidly get that second yellow absolutely killed Argentina and their home game plan. And then obviously Messi's left there up front on his own. Then you think, can he get a bit more legs on there because the man down? But the Fernando decision to get back out was the big one.
Adding to that managerial question as well, interestingly enough, still no team has won a World Cup without a manager who is from the country that he is managing. A foreign manager has never won the World Cup, which surprised you earlier when we were discussing it.
Yeah, it did, but you know, when you're representing your country, you have that pride. That's something which you can't give to someone from another country. So
well, nobody has more pride of pulling on that shirt than Lionel Messi, who has done it in 6 World Cups. He's won the World Cup, but today he's on the losing side. There wasn't to be a fairy tale ending, Joe, for Lionel Messi here.
No, there wasn't, and he barely had any impact on the game, did he? Because of Spain's domination, as both these guys talked about before the game. He never really had a sniff until the very end, but he still had that little bit of life, didn't he? That little bit, anything that was going to happen was going to come through him. The short corners, the quality from the right-hand side. It wasn't his moment. It was not his moment today. He's had a brilliant tournament, but he just couldn't bring it to the final.
Well, he won't want to see this, Micah. This is today's touch map.
Yeah, it's only 54 touches, none in the box, and for Messi's standards. But everyone kept asking throughout the talk, how do you stop Messi? You stop Messi by retaining the ball and making him run back the other way, not getting him allowed in areas in the pitch where it can hurt you. And that's exactly what Spain did today. There were a couple of moments, but they was just, at the end of the game, maybe hopeful, but he's still got the quality, but Spain dealt with him so well.
We should just say we're obviously waiting at the moment for the trophy and awards ceremonies to begin, and there's quite a few awards to hand out before we get to the main prize. Do you think this is it for Messi in an Argentina shirt?
Because coming into the World Cup, everyone thought Messi was finished. He's playing in Miami. He's on a holiday. He's come into this tournament and he's been one of, if not the best player on the ball, off the ball. Yes, we know he's not great, but the way he can inspire people, the way when he's still got the touch and technique and the passing, is just absolutely incredible. We're witnessing greatness, and to be in the stadium, which potentially could be his last ever game for Argentina, I'm just grateful to be here.
were part of the next World Cup in Argentina as well.
So the World Cup, Spain, Portugal, Morocco, Uruguay. So it's just saying where the next World Cup is, and Argentina do have a game at the next World Cup. But we'll get on to that a little bit later. I think Wayne's trying to come up with a theory that he's staying on, by the way, Micah. But here we go. The trophy is being brought into the stadium, which tells us that the ceremonies are about to begin, and the contingent, that's Sergio Ramos, but the contingent who will present the trophies, and they are many: the Golden Boot, the Fair Play, the Young Player, the Golden Ball, the Golden Glove, all of those to be handed out, as well as the second place, as they call it tactfully these days. They don't call them losers' medals anymore. Those medals before we hand that out. Let's just have a little talk about those prizes. Who's Young Player then? Oh, hang on a second. There's Gianni Infantino and Donald Trump, who are part of that awards ceremony. They will be handing out the prizes. Not the warmest of receptions there. Not quite sure which one that's directed towards. Claudia Sheinbaum, who is the President of Mexico, the Prime Minister Mark Carney of Canada, will complete that as the host leaders, of course. But there's only one leader Infantino wants to walk into the stadium next to, isn't there?
Yeah, where's his golf partner there?
It's on you out to dry there.
Yeah, I play golf.
First time you've been speechless.
No, I'm not speechless. I'm speechless to Infantino's trainers. He talks about everything else, and then he comes, he has to represent FIFA better than that with them trainers. Stupid.
That's the half-time entertainment. That's bar, and that's trainers with suits. That's a trio of hate from Wayne Rooney during this World Cup. There's a few other things that you might want to bring up with him, but his trainers will be on the list. So we don't know yet who's won the awards. It's always a surprise, which isn't great as a broadcaster, to not be able to kind of have some information to bring you. But we do know that there is going to be a young player. We talked about two of the potentials, Lamine Yamal and Kubasi.
I would go with Kubasi, because to only concede one goal in the competition and play pretty much every single minute and be a massive part of it, I would go Kubasi.
Do you think Yamal needed a bit more from this tournament?
He may well have needed it, but I feel like in these sorts of tournaments that Kubasi isn't going to get it, Mike. I feel like Yamal will get it, because it's just a great narrative to have for the World Cup, and that's pretty much what they've tried to do this whole entire tournament.
Create a show.
Yeah, I think Kubasi. Yeah, I tend to agree with what Joe's saying.
No,
I think normally the bigger names get it.
No goalkeeper
more flair players
has ever won the Young Player Award, Joe.
And they never will.
Only one name for you on the Golden Glove, I'm guessing, and that's Unai Simon.
Yeah, I think that's 7 clean sheets, which is a record in World Cup. Absolutely. The way that he's gone about his business as well, he's been exceptional. He's had little moments, especially today. He took a big cross later, loved it.
We'll just have a little look and see that at the moment it is the match officials who are getting their medals. They weren't supposed to be going up first, but they may well have thrown the running order up in the air, and they're getting theirs.
A shot at Darren Cam as well.
He's back in that place you mentioned. It is the last ever match, Darren's telling us, from Salford. It is the last ever match for this referee. So he's going out.
I think he'll be relieved that Spain won in the end, because obviously he had to make some big calls early doors. He decided not to get too involved and let Argentina do what they needed to do. I think Fernandez put his hands behind his back and made him have to give that red card. But like I say, the best teams won.
Slavkovic Vincic there on his final match as a referee, and not a bad one to go out on. And we'll find out in a moment who the next award will be given to. But Golden Ball, player of the tournament, and a few. Messi 2022, Luka Modric in 2018, Messi in 2014. Could be Messi again, could it?
I think it's got to be Rodri. I think he's knitted everything together for Spain. His influence on that team has been incredible, and the fact that they've won the tournament, I think it has to be Rodri.
Now, he just went up and said something to Kubasi there. Somebody just went over and said something to him, something official. I'm calling it early. I think he could be about to get young player.
Oh, his little face, he's definitely getting young player.
Oh, no.
Go on, lad.
I hope so.
Hang
Look
on,
at him.
No, he's been sent. Yeah, he is. He is. He's going back to the arch, the players lineup. Yes, it is Kubasi. Pau Kubasi